Hey, Cardinals fans, welcome back to the Redbird Rundown presented by I-70 Sports, your home for all things St. Louis Cardinals. I'm Andy, here with Matt and Jonathan. Hey, we would love for you guys to just take a second, listener, and share us on Spotify or maybe Apple links with some of your friends. They can be found on Facebook, Blue Sky, and Twitter. And today, the boys here, not so much me, I've been out and about on vacations. They're going to have to recap some highlights or maybe some lowlights of the past few series. We're going to be making the case for blowing up the roster or perhaps not, and then sharing what we're really looking for heading, as in the bobblehead this coming week, next week's games against the Yankees, maybe. But before we get into those series recaps, let's get into check our record. From the last time we recorded, we went shocker. The Cardinals went 4-4 and played 500 ball this past week. So, gentlemen, let's start off with your guys' vibe check as well as an updated. I had 19 couples that I floated down Current River with, and so I can kind of give you a vibe check of those casual
Wow.
fans from Southern Illinois of what 19 couples felt about the Cardinals this year because I asked. So go ahead, Jonathan, with your vibe
Wow.
check.
First of all, love all the energy you're bringing right now. It's
Yeah,
on about an 11, and I'm really appreciating that right now. I'm not sure what's in that bottle you just drank out of, but I
just
want some.
water. This is all natural.
Uh, my vibe check is develop, develop, develop. That's it. I don't care what happens throughout the rest of the year. Just let me see Jordan Walker literally every single day, and just develop, right? 500 ball. It's not that exciting. I don't expect us to make the playoffs, or make some reel off a bunch of wins. I just am really excited to watch the rest of these dudes develop.
Matt, how's your vibe check, Hank? Well, how are the Cardinals at this point in the season? What are you feeling?
If you guys will permit me to get one extra word in from the 5 word vibe check or less, I'm going to take us to the early aughts and just say, wake me up when September ends.
Mm.
Because
Well,
it's
thank you, Green
just,
Day.
yes, I know. It's just, it just is what it is. Like, this is such a weird thing. It's just, we're just like playing out something that doesn't matter. I think for the guys individually it matters, but for the team as a whole, now if they turn this around and they're able to make the playoffs, I'll be as gung ho as anybody. But like for me personally, my expectations, I've just kind of floated them down the river with Andy and the 19 couples, and there's just I don't have no more expectations. So like Jonathan said, let's play the young guys. Wake me up when this is over. I'm
Mhm.
ready for this off season. I think this off season is going to be insane, and we'll just kind of keep fumbling along here.
Yeah. My vibe check is who? As in that is
Oh,
what I got basically when I asked name a few Cardinals. Just go around the room. Let's name as many Cardinals as we can. And I stayed silent. Um, they got
Who was it? Who
two
was it?
Cardinals. They got Mason Wynn,
Oh,
and not by name, but by like they kind of got there. They
by
messed up.
aura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and then Willie. They got Contreras by name. That was it.
oh,
Couldn't name
okay.
anybody else. And I think that who are the Cardinals? Who are they? Oh, the 500 team Cardinals. I think that's the vibe check. Who are they?
I thought you were going to say floating down the river. I would have approved it.
I mean, there's multiple times where I was sitting on the river for 6 hours where I was like, this kind of feels like the Cardinals season so far. You got some really quick, wow, man, who is this team? This is fun and exciting. I like
Yeah.
doing this. And then you hit a bend where that river starts to
Just
turn and it
slows.
slows way down.
Uh-huh.
And yeah,
Do
that's
you
just
call that the Michaelis curve? Is that what you call it?
batting
We need to
practice.
introduce some of these people to Joel Pozo. Just really get some love and some
It's true.
dare I say some extra poundage in their life and just what a lovable man, you know?
I saw, speaking of the
Yeah.
Miles Michaelis hate, I saw that there was a Reddit post. I saw that the Cardinals are offering two more games where you can go and hit batting practice before the game. And it's like a
I didn't know
hundred,
this.
yeah, it's like $135 or something like that for,
Michaelis is pitching.
and that's exactly what they said. They said, I will only do it if Michaelis is pitching, so that way I know I can hit one out, stuff like
Ah,
that.
savor it,
Listen,
boys. If only a few months left of
Michaelis,
that. Yeah.
Palante,
Yeah. No kidding.
Graceffo, just line them up at this point.
So like I said, I was at the Wisconsin Dells. I've been to the float trip in Current River. So in those areas didn't have much ability to watch games other than
Yeah, sure.
watch the box scores, keep track. So fill me in on specifically against this Dodgers team. What did that look like? Can we give Andy and the rest of the casual listeners what happened? Why did we go 2-1 against the Dodgers? Anything of note?
Well,
Jonathan, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah. Our loss came from Michaelis, so that's it, right? That
Okay.
makes sense.
He pitched
Okay.
batting practice.
He was not great. Very short outing. It was not awesome. We kind of threw in our garbage time relievers, other than Swanson, who looks like a dude.
Hmm.
He looks like he's pretty good. Sonny was excellent in the first game. He was excellent. He said something after the game. Shohei led off, and Sonny's second pitch was a sweeper. And he said, as soon as I saw that swing from Shohei, I knew I was going to have a good day with the sweeper. That must feel
Mm.
really good to throw
Hmm.
that to the greatest hitter,
Yeah, to the
or maybe
MVP.
greatest baseball player ever. And he whiffs at it, and you're like, this is going to be good for me today. Um, and then the dudes that I alluded to, Swanson, but now JoJo, Riley O'Brien, and Leahy were really good in the last game. And
Real
that's why we won
quick,
the last one.
speaking of former, well, there's no speaking of, just I did you see Hell's Bells? What happened to him? I think last night. I did see this.
No, what happened?
He was pitching against, I believe Willie's brother's name is William Contreras, yes, for the
Yes.
Brewers.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
Okay. He, it was like 5-4 Brewers, and Hell's Bells was in there trying to keep it close. And he had a pitching time clock
Oh,
violation,
violation.
but he got
Wow.
the pitch off. And like, so like, it was like one of those moments where like pitch was off. William Contreras hits it, lines out to the right fielder. Obviously, it's a dead ball.
Oh,
Repitch. William Contreras jacks a 2-run shot after off of him the very next pitch. And I was like, oh, that's gotta
wow.
feel like absolute.
Hopefully, you got to get those tree trunk legs moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, because obviously our guys picking up on Michaelis, we're not gonna
Hmm.
have Hell's Bells out there. It's gonna have to be what was left after the trade deadline, which you guys got to talk about.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But I was out for that one, and I'm just very thankful that we didn't do. If obviously every team wants to be like come out with like a steal, like oh my gosh, you see what the
Yeah.
Cardinals got out of the trade deadline. I my thought was is it kind of fell in line with what we were feeling on the pod was just like I'm glad that Mo kind of handed the reins over to Heim without.
Yeah. That's what we were thinking as well.
Yeah, I think that was so. I guess a sigh of relief that we didn't do something stupid. Like it could have been better, but we didn't do anything stupid, and that was my thought
Yeah.
looking at
I
that.
agree.
So then the Cubbies were playing tonight on ESPN. Do you think, guys, that we are going to look as bad as the last time? That was Cards Cubs. We played up at Wrigley on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, and
Well,
we
it's not
got absolutely
Michaelis.
demolished.
It's Sonny throwing. So if Sonny's on, we're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
This is my takeaway from both these last two series. Our top 10 offense from the beginning of the year has morphed into a bottom 10 offense,
Hmm.
and we are just dragging Pages' carcass around, and there's too many holes in the lineup. We're just
Yeah.
getting nothing. The
Yeah.
bullpen's pretty good. Has some continues to have some bright spots, including just pod favorite Rob throwing frisbees and looking nasty, and JoJo. So it essentially for the rest of the season is going to come down to do Palante and Michaelis give up 6 runs before the other team gets 3 outs, or do we have a good outing? We're going to win some games. We're probably going to
Yeah.
hover around 500, but our offense is not going to win us too many games anymore with the way that it's currently hitting. So that's just kind of where we're at. We're just kind of stuck in neutral, and it all basically comes down to how good the starter is.
Yeah, I gotta mention one thing about both Palante and McGreevy. So we just saw them in the Cubs series, right?
Right.
Where McGreevy, a lot of hard contact off of him, a ton of it, right? He really escapes pretty unscathed. He threw was it 5 innings of scoreless ball, right?
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of research about like who is McGreevy, like who does he profile as, and I really hate to tell you this, it's Miles Michaelis. I know we talked
Mm.
about this. Michaelis was very good for a few years though. McGreevy is a lot younger, but McGreevy excels when his location is superb. Okay. He doesn't have the quote stuff. If you look at Fangraphs, they have stuff plus, location plus, and pitching plus, and it equates to like WRC plus. It's a way to standardize pitching talent, just like WRC plus standardizes offensive talent. Well, when McGreevy's good, his location plus is extremely high, and it offsets for some of the nasty movement because he's placing these things. The thing that makes me feel like McGreevy might be different, gives me like a little bit of hope, is he adjusts throughout the game where Michaelis just throws batting practice fastballs down the middle. McGreevy doesn't do that. It feels like he changes his approach throughout the game, but don't expect him to be the savior. I know we've talked about this. I don't expect him to be as bad as Michaelis, but he's going to be like a low to mid 4 ERA guy. Like that's who he is. It's just inevitable. He does not miss enough bats to be better than that.
So
Now,
just to
yeah,
clarify and quantify that, you're
yeah,
saying that McGreevy's uh little ball movement is not like off the charts. Like so
right,
when people
right.
say stuff, it's like the movement is so difficult for a batter to
Velocity,
track,
induced vertical break, all
Right.
those things.
all
Yep.
Yep.
those things. Whereas location, he's just pulling
Dot in the corners.
Hitting his
Glavin
spots.
or
Yeah. Yes.
those
Maddox. Yeah.
spots, Maddox spots. He's just hitting and dicing up the strike
There
zone.
just have been very few pitchers throughout the last 5 to 10 years. And I'm saying 5 to 10 years because hitting approaches have changed. Everything has changed as opposed to like Tom Glavine or Maddox's years, right? And there's not a lot of guys that show success that profile how he throws it. It's just he's going to be in the fours. His ERA is going to be in the fours. Palante is a much different story, and he scares me. We saw him last night. In his last couple starts, he's been really bad. And it doesn't really matter. He has to have both location and his stuff has to be on. If one of the two of those are not, he is in huge trouble. He's got to be perfect for him to be pretty good, right? And if he's not, if one of these things wavers, I don't know that he's a rotation guy. I know we were kind of chatting about that in our group chat off the pod here, but I don't know. The more I see Palante, it's just it's too inconsistent. There's way too much luck involved with where these balls are hit. His profile is a lot easier to read because it just looks like he's not that good. I don't know.
So
What do you
think
guys think about that? Yeah.
go ahead,
I
Matt.
think McGreevy and Palante are the literal culmination of John Mozeliak at the end of his tenure.
Yeah.
Think about it. We held on to both of them for forever. McGreevy has been in AAA for forever. Palante, we jerked around. We didn't know what we were doing with him. He's been in the bullpen. He's been in the
Yeah.
minors. He's been a starter. They're both pitched to contact. They both were like late of their round draftees. That they are John Mozeliak on the field.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing these guys in the minor leagues that have a strikeout pop. So I think there's a wave of change coming. But this is something that's going to require some patience from the organization, especially the fans, is that Chaim Bloom's going to take over, but we're still going to have these lingering bits of
Yeah.
John Mozeliak's development, and that is what McGreevy and Palante both are.
So speaking of those exact two people, and it segues into what our talking point is going to be on this episode of the playing time for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of people, a lot of hate on Palante last night on the Cardinal subreddit. People wanted him yanked or benched or out. They're just frustrated, right? That frustration was palpable.
Sure.
And it also led a little bit to McGreevy a bit. Got a little bit of zinged. A couple of people were on him. What I want to talk about real quick is that apparently in a different pod, Lance Lynn talked about those two specific players, about how
Hmm.
some people have been wondering if those two players are dealing with some fatigue and or they're not used to going this far in the season. There might be
Sure.
somewhat hurt. They're playing through some stuff. Obviously, there's no official word from the Cardinals organization about placing them on anything like that.
Yeah.
However, he fought back on about the notion, and I just want to toss this out. I guess is the first question of whether or not you agree with the man Lance Lynn of instead of removing them, let's say Palante, or if you even agree with him about
Mm-hmm.
McGreevy, instead of removing them from the rotation, if they're going to be a part of the rotation, then they need to learn how it feels and to make adjustments in their body to go the entire season. So he said, put them out there for 60 to 80 pitches if that's all their body has. Let them do that and then pull them out. So if that means they get through 3 innings of work or they're efficient, they get 5 innings of work in, that they need to learn how to go the entire season. Because if you shut them down, then their bodies are only ready for 4 months out of the season. That's what you have trained your body to do instead of going the distance. Thoughts about that?
Two things I would say to that to Mr. Lance Lynn, who knows more about pitching, who has forgotten more about pitching than I'll ever know. But number one is when Andre Palante has given up 6 runs before his 40th pitch, what is that fatigue? What's going on there? So I think there's two things going on. One is this is their approach. Their approach is contact. And when they're not close to perfect, there are games where they're going to get hit hard, both of them. And
Yep.
two, this is what happens when the franchise is saying we'd like to compete for a wild card spot, but the secret goal of the season is development. If the stated goal of the season had just been development and we're not going to worry about the playoffs, then at least now nobody likes to watch a pitcher get blown up, but at least the fans can kind of wrap their mind around the purpose of the season rather than doing this treadmill of mediocrity thing where we're always chasing this third wild card spot. We're saying one thing and we're doing another thing, and it doesn't make sense to people.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that there could be some fatigue with Palante. He has never gone this far. I mean, he did it last year a little bit, but he just, if you look at his projections and who he profiles as a pitcher, this is about what you're going to get with Andre Palante, rested or not. It's just too much in the air because he doesn't miss bats. And this is just going to happen. Now, for the rest of the season, leave him out there. One, we don't have anybody else to pitch. All right.
Yeah.
There's nobody else to come in. Two, let's just see. Can he continue? Is he going to continue this way? Is he going to change it a little bit? Now, the discussion next year is much, much different because I don't know who's going to be there. You may have to see him again because I don't know what their timeline is. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in a later episode of when do you start to see this new generation of strikeout stuff? How long do you hold on to this old, the old guard of contact, not so much swing and miss? It's not like these guys can't be effective. There's only one of them. If McGreevy's your fifth starter and he's a contact guy,
Sure.
but you have 4 dudes who are swing and miss, that's okay. You can't have 3, 4 of them in there. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at too.
By the way, we really praise strikeouts a lot from a rotation, and I do think that's important. I do think that's something we should shift to. However, I will say this. Our staff is like 28th in strikeout rate in the major leagues. The Cubs staff is 27th. So you can be very successful, but the Cubs offense is just considerably better than our offense is. So in light of the fact that we don't have an elite anything, maybe just an elite defense, and that might really just come down to Mason Wynn and Victor Scott, and that's
Yeah,
it.
no kidding.
If that's the only elite thing that we have, these things are going to look worse when you can't win, when Palante gives up 6 runs in 2 innings and that's it, you're done.
Hey, shout out to Guru Brownie real quick. We are ranked like in the top three, so not the bad top three. It might be top four of like strikeout rates for the offense right now. We're really low strikeout rate. Just shout out to Brownie there, but everything else is literally mediocre, as in like middle
Yeah,
of
it's
the pack or
regressed.
lower.
It's regressed
Yeah,
back to the
the
mean a
offense.
little bit.
So let's talk real quick then, since we're talking about the pitchers, the rest of the season. Are we fetting anybody? Are we DFAing anybody?
Betting them.
Yeah, are we gonna fetty anyone else, or is the rotation
Uh,
pending, outside of any type of injury? Are we saying, okay, just leave the rotation like it is, or do we want to see anybody for the rest of this year come up?
Matt,
I've
I don't know
got
what
one
I was going
edit.
to say.
I
Yeah,
do.
see what you think.
I have one edit, and that is that I wish on Michaelis's start days, they would just start with Leahy and make him the opener. And if he can and grow his pitch count each time, now that might mess your bullpen up a little bit. But again,
Who cares?
exactly. I don't care anymore. And Leahy's got 6 pitches. His strikeout stuff is back. Excuse me. He's he had like a portion in the middle of the season where he kind of struggled some. He's very good at the beginning. He's been very good lately. So let's stretch him out. And then when he can go 2 innings, 3 innings, whatever, that's how far Michaelis was going to go anyway. So let's just tack that's the one change I would like to see, because I agree with you guys. The AAA talent. I mean, Quinn Matthews has been very, very good his last 2 starts, but
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody else ready in AAA to come take starts. So I would like to see Leahy used as the opener. I doubt we do that because somehow Miles Michaelis is just this unimpeachable. I don't know how he holds the status that he holds the status with this franchise, but we can't do anything to him. So that's
Yeah.
my one thing I'd like to see.
I agree with that. I don't think there's anybody else waiting to take the mantle other than Quinn. He's been better the last couple starts, but he's rocking a 7 walks per 9 right now. 7. That is 4 is bad. So that's almost double that. He's just got some command issues. We will see him next year 100%. Unless somebody gets hurt. If somebody gets hurt, I do think you see him. I don't know why you
Possibly.
wouldn't. There's
Yeah,
nobody else unless they want to bring up some of these randos they've been signing. We've signed
sure.
a lot of random minor league dudes lately. So anyway, yeah, I think the pitching, you're probably going to see what you're going to see the rest of the year.
So let me ask a quick question, just because I haven't honestly been watching innings 7, 8, and 9. Do the Cardinals seem to have landed on a replacement of Hell's Bells? Does it seem to be a closer by committee situation? Is that what's happening currently with the bullpen there at the end?
Kinda, Matt. I mean, I think I've been seeing they put JoJo in yesterday or 2 days ago in the seventh. They're using him more situationally because you want to do that with lefties, and they're saving Riley for the ninth. But JoJo saved a game against the Dodgers because it was a bunch of lefty heavy batters coming up. So I think gun to your head, he'd pick JoJo, but Rob's got the stuff and he's a righty. You kind of like that too.
Yeah, I agree. I think they think JoJo is the best reliever, and that's probably true. But I agree that you want to any lane that you can get him in with that's lefty heavy, and if it's a close game, you have to do that in the seventh inning. By all means, I'm fine with that because
Yeah.
Riley O'Brien has been very good, and Matt Swanson has been good, and I think we'll see him some higher leverage stuff. So
So that
Yeah.
takes care of the pitching staff. So let's go into the everyday players and the DH role. Is there anybody, Jonathan, that you would like to see positionally to maybe perhaps get replaced by a prospect that is coming up? Have you seen enough of somebody?
I think honestly, just overall, the only two players that we need to see as much of the rest of the season as possible is just Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman. It's just those two guys. I don't know so much that there's anybody in the minor leagues from a positional standpoint other than JJ Weatherholt, and you can convince me that he needs to wait till next year anyway, because this year, as we talked at the beginning, should just be a year to see exactly what you have. Figure these questions out. Because if we get to the end of this year and we still don't know what we want to do about Nolan Gorman, then I'm going to be frustrated because that's what this year was sacrificed for. Now, Walker is, you said the word unimpeachable. He is unimpeachable out there in right field every single day, whether he feels good or not. He has to be out there. Gorman, it's going to be a little bit harder because they're going to play Arenado. Whether we agree with that or not, whenever he comes back, if he comes back, they're going to play him, and Gorman's at bats are going to be harder to find. That is where you're going to see him switch to DH. It's just hard because Marmole's already said Burley's earned a right to play. I don't disagree with that, but I also think, dude, Burley, you're safe next year, right? If you're going to be on the team, you're going to play. This is Gorman's last shot, in my honest opinion, whether you are going to be on this team going forward or not. So those are the two names throughout the positions that I think have got to play.
I agree with I agree with a lot of that. I think the unfortunate thing is Jordan Walker is had an OPS over 800 in July, and he's got an even higher one so far in August, which
Thank
is
God.
Jonathan's pumping his fist, and that is exactly what we have to see. But he's not been in the lineup every day. He had a couple games where he was on the bench, and again, we've just got this. I do not envy Marmole's position because, I mean, I really feel bad about saying this because I really don't think Nolan Arenado is a bad person. Thank God he's not playing right now because I have no idea how you would get all these bats in the lineup that we need to see if Arenado was there every day. Jonathan's right. They're going to play him. Ollie said Burley's going to play every day, which I'll be honest with you, I also disagree with that to a certain extent because, again, Burley has proven it. He can hit. We need to see Walker. Wynn's going to play every day. And so you've got this Donnie, Newt, Victor Scott, Gorman, Contreras, Herrera, who has no position right now, right? And Herrera's bat he's cooled, but his bat needs to be in there because he still just knocks the cover off the ball. So I think, unfortunately, what you're going to see is you're just going to see a carousel of guys continue for the rest of the year. And you've seen it already. They've been playing Newt in center field some, and Victor Scott's been on the bench. So Mo has always historically talked about this concept and this issue of like redundancy on the roster. And I there are parts of that that make sense to me. Like Brendan Donovan is a good redundancy to have because he can play 3 or 4 positions well. That's awesome to have for your roster. The problem with redundancy is if none of the guys pop, then you would just have like all this mediocre redundancy just ramming its head into itself,
Yeah.
which is what you've got on this roster. I don't think there is a like clean fix for this, except to I agree with you, Jonathan, and like from a franchise perspective, I disagree with this. I don't think you can bring Weatherholt up because he would have to play every single day if he's
Yeah.
up. And now you've got again Gorman, Donnie, like second base, third base, all these options. And so that would cause an issue. The other thing I would do, and I hate to do this, is I would send Thomas the Italian Sigjacy down because
Yep.
he's like kind of getting some playing time. If he's not going to play very much, just bring Jose Fermin up and let him sit on the bench and let Sigjacy play every day in AAA.
Just reading my notes. Just reading my notes at this point.
So, the question for you guys, to complicate, I think, a little bit, is that you have what Matt touched on right there. Ivan Herrera has proven that his bat needs to be in this lineup. However, you've got some other guys that could, what I was reading is okay, Ivan is where do you put him? If you put
Yeah.
him, he's playing a little outfield, right? That's what he's been doing. But spoilers, he's in the bottom quarter of the MLB in terms of sprint speed. Not exactly who you want roaming, even if you stick him into left field or right field, not exactly who you want out there
Yeah.
roaming the outfield when you're in the bottom quarter of sprint speed, which makes sense because you played catcher. Not known for speedsters there at that position. So I would just like to submit, I'm not saying taking Avon out of the lineup. I'm just saying it's compounding the issue with like who goes where. It's the fact that we have Avon's bat, but he's a liability, maybe, especially maybe in the outfield with his speed, unless you have maybe Newt and Victor out there covering three-fifths of the outfield and,
Yeah.
whatever, or more than that, 80% of the outfield, and say, Yvonne, take this 20%. So, do we have a case yet of just saying, you know what, let's just blow this sucker up and just absolutely just go just torch it, just go absolute Vietnam War and drop napalm
Napalm.
all over the roster. Is there a
Jeez.
case? Is there a case for that? Is there truly a case for that? Let's list out some of the
Yeah.
pros for that scenario where we're like, yep, let's just nuke it.
I forget who said this, and I would like to give credit to the source. And Jonathan, maybe it was something you said to me, but the thought was like, which of our players is really and truly part of the next 95 win Cardinals team?
Yeah.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
and
mean,
and if that's the case, great job. If that's the case, then let's get future value out of the rest of these guys. So let me give you, if we're blowing this up, I mean, okay, let me take a step back philosophically and see if you guys agree with this. I think that the St. Louis Cardinals need to be competing for titles, and we have run this treadmill of mediocrity into where we are right in the middle of the pack. We have been in the middle of the pack for several years. It just so happens that baseball has expanded the number of playoff spots, so we sneak in sometimes and then we get smoked in the playoffs. But we are firmly in the middle. Do you guys agree with that? Is the purpose of this franchise to compete for titles, or are we okay? Like with a 20-year run of winning like 87 games and we're good. Is that okay?
I mean, no, and look at the stands of why that should not be okay to the staff or
yeah.
the admin. No, and that's what the 38 other people that I was in the room with was kind of echoing. They were all Cardinals fans. Every single one of them. If I said if you had to identify as a fan of one baseball team, would
Yeah.
everyone identify as a Cardinals baseball fan? Yes. Now name a Cardinals baseball player
Yeah.
to crickets until we get two out of there. That's bad. And so, yes, the Cardinals have to snap out of this, or they
Yeah.
become the Louisville Cardinals soon. So, I think truly, I have a penchant to do this. I have more pizzazz and flair, or just like I of the three brothers here, I'm most likely to do something the most extreme. And if I'm a GM and the manager right now, I personally am okay with be like, yep, let's blow this sucker up. Pages
Uh-oh.
has
Oh,
truly has got to
He's
get
broken
out,
you.
has got to get out. Got go away. Go away. And I'm sure he's a nice guy and he's better at catching a baseball and hitting a baseball than I ever could. Okay, so I'm not saying put me in, but there are people in our prospect list that are catchers that surely to goodness they are better than what is being run out there
Yeah.
every day. And it
Mm-hmm.
is a pain to watch or
Hmm.
look at the box score, scroll down to the 8 hole, and say Pages 0 for 4 with like 2 Ks, and it's just like, what did he do? He framed a pitch really well, and he's apparently really good at that.
uh,
So if there is a
Didn't
roster
help
spot,
Palante out. I'll say
yeah,
that.
time to turn the
yeah,
pajes on this one. You know what I mean?
if there,
Yes.
yes, if there's a spot, if you ask me, if there's a pro, literally very little con of getting rid and blowing up a position spot for whoever, bring up literally any of the three prospects. I don't care. Pick one.
That's
It's
true.
it's this guy. I have seen enough. If I am personally the coach, I am
Yeah.
personally the GM, I personally, Andrew Smith, has seen enough of Pedro Pajes to get someone else in there and say, okay, we tried.
Yep. You heard it here first, folks. Bobby's out on Pedro.
I'm out 100%.
Pies rant. I love it. I love
As
it. Are there
in,
more
there's
No.
no
pros?
reason to have this
Yeah.
guy in this lineup
Yeah.
anymore. None.
Yeah.
Get him out.
I got two reasons why I would do it. Is one is we don't have any stars, right?
Correct.
We don't have any stars. And the quickest and easiest way to supercharge your minor league system is by trading your decent guys. Your guys, right? We could get something for Burley. You could get something for Donnie. You could get something for, I don't know, like just insert these names. You could get something for them that would supercharge this rebuild. And you have to think you got a new minor league visionary as your president of baseball ops, right? That knows how to evaluate talent. That's all he's ever done, right? So let him make these decisions, get some dudes back, get back into contention quicker, be more like the Orioles and their rebuild and not like the Rockies and their forever rebuild. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
The other piece I could think of when thinking about this question was I don't want to be this mediocre team because I want us to have an identity. Our identity can't be sneaking the playoffs, Matt. You said that earlier. Our identity needs to compete for championships, and right now we're just not doing that. So I feel like when you make these sweeping decisions, it gives you a purpose, a goal, something to go for, and not this fringe stuff. So
I don't think I'm the only fan that would say that it would be refreshing to me if we finally just face the facts of what we've been talking about all season. There are no stars. This is not a 95 win team. This is probably not like two pieces away from being a 95 win team because again, what you're talking about is you would need to upgrade a Burley or you would need to upgrade a Donovan or like the very best players that we have are not the core of a 95 win team. And so it would just be refreshing to me if somebody were able to say, okay, we've been dressing up, we've been putting lipstick on a pig for too long. So let's just really make some hard decisions and stop holding on to our guys and stop letting their value kind of diminish because they don't perform well for us. Stop doing those types of things. I mean, also, if you could get these no trade veterans to waive their no trade clause, you can save big money. And so what you could do there is you could kind of reduce the payroll, save your pennies, and then maybe in a couple years, maybe you can swim in deep waters. If we have some exciting talent, you can bring in an actual capital G guy in the ways the Cardinals used to do. The Cardinals brought in Matt Holliday. The Cardinals brought in Carlos Beltran. We used to do this frequently. We would trade for a guy and then sign him to a big extension. We haven't done that in years. And part of that is because we're just sorry to say this term for the third time, but this treadmill of mediocrity has pushed our payroll so high and we're not getting like the payroll efficiency that we should be doing. So I don't want to lose. I don't want to suffer through 105 loss seasons, but I also don't like what we're doing right now. And I have not enjoyed the past few years of Cardinals baseball very much.
No, the only other thing I wanted to add, Andy, is we have got to the case for the 4 and burning this down, or I mean, you can rip it down to the studs. That's what Matt just said. You start trading the veterans with no trade clauses, like that's a whole full house reno. You know what I'm saying? Like I would want to do that as opposed to just like blowing out the kitchen. But what we have to do, we must unclog these log jams. We have to. I don't care if Burleson or Gorman or Newt or whoever we cut bait with succeeds and is an all-star and, oh, great, we gave up on another guy. I literally do not care. We have got to stop running into these because when you look at this, you trade Donnie, there's Weatherholt's spot. You get rid of Arenado, so JC can play every single day. If Willie wasn't here, Yvonne finally has a position, right? If Burley isn't here, Ivine might have a position. If Pages isn't here, well, there's Jimmy Crooks, there's Leonardo Bernal, right? If Newt's not here, Baez, Church, I don't know. You just go down the list and it's like there's a replacement for all of these dudes. We have got that is paramount
And
above
I don't
anything
know.
else. We
I
have to
don't
do
know
that.
that the bottom drops out if we do these types of
That's
things.
what I'm saying. Like I don't know. Like you just need to give these guys constant time.
Yeah.
I
And we
mean,
Yeah.
haven't.
Go ahead, Andy.
We
well,
haven't.
don't you think at some point to just to drum up a little bit
I
of
have some cons too.
Yeah,
yeah,
me as well.
but like okay, you'll never know if you have Dylan Cruz in AAA or the next Brewers pitcher I can never pronounce his last Mrs. Rizovsky. Did you see, by the way, Jonathan, that he after their 7 game win streak, he pulled original like 1996 holographic Charizard and went ape. It went viral on the internet.
Mizrowski did.
Yeah.
Good thing.
Absolutely.
Good thing a Major League Baseball player needs that.
The entire not dugout, they were in the locker room,
Uh-huh.
exploded in cheers whenever he did that. Either way, that's what I mean. That's exciting for somewhat nerdy Cardinals fans, someone like that. But you don't know. And are we at the point yet? Aren't we at the point yet where there's a few players that you can be like, you know what? Let's just see. Let's just see if there's someone down there that might surprise us. Their stuff is not like, oh my gosh, we have
Yeah.
Paul Skeens down in the minor leagues right now. We got to get him up here right now. What if we do? If we just, you think Pedro Pajes is going to do any better? Pull him up here and see what happens. What's the worst? So
Uh,
Matt, give me what's the worst that can happen? Go.
Well, the worst that can happen is you're the Orioles or you're the Rockies. Now, the Orioles had a couple good years. They're bad again this year. You're the Pirates. You are some of these also ran franchises. You're the A's. Now, the Cardinals have more financial muscle than any of those teams do. And so I think it's possible that you could be the Astros or you could be the Red Sox and that you don't just languish out in the wilderness for years and years and years and years. You don't want that because if you want to see low attended games, I mean, we're at the
yeah.
what we think of as the bottom. I mean, if we're bad, that is so much lower. But even while I'm saying these cons, I'm saying like we've had winning records. We won more games than we lost last year. Well, I think we'll probably win more games than we lose this year, and the stands are still empty. So this fan base it's going to take like a 9,500 win juggernaut, I think, to get this franchise back to where it was because we did that all the time, and that's why our attendance numbers were always so high. So even as I'm doing the cons, I hate losing. I don't want to watch losing. I don't want to lose 110 games, but I don't think that will happen. Plus, you'll be in that upper echelon of getting draft picks. I realize there's some limitations on that, but we need like star level access to guys, and that would
Yeah.
help us.
The only other like, and I read as I'm thinking and as I was writing these things down, I don't like them. I am team pro, burn it down to a certain extent. But this just came to my mind when you were talking, Matt, is what's the alternative? What's the alternative? You stick with these guys that we have for another year. You hope they develop, right? Fingers crossed, and they pop a little bit more. That's a really like low, like who cares? You're going to get more of the same. You're going to get an 80-win team, an 83-win team. So what would be against trying something else? Seeing what we have going forward, you know that this team isn't going to be like we're blowing up a 100-win team. Like this was after 2022, where Goldschmidt just won the MVP, Arenado was third, and we won the division, made the playoffs. The Phillies stole that series from us, right, in the NLDS. What are we doing? It's not like we're trading that team. We're not. This is just a team that has underperformed. So I just made another pro for it. So sorry about that. Andy, to your point,
there's
this is the last
only-
piece here. No, I was just going to say prospects are never a sure thing. That's the only risk. You said Dylan Cruz. He has not really panned out so far. He needs time. You just don't know. A guy hits 350 in AAA, he can come up and be terrible. Just look at Luken Baker, right? He was blasting the ball and had never did anything. So anyway.
I don't know. It's scary to contemplate this because this is not ever where the Cardinals have been. But it strikes me that there's only two ways to add impact talent, and that is to sign it and that is to develop it. And if we keep doing what we're doing right now, we are never, ever going to sign it because we're having to spend money to fill these gaps to get guys that are not like S tier free agents. We're signing a bunch of B tier free agents, and we also can't develop anything. So what we're doing right now is a fast track to absolutely nowhere. And so, at least to me, if I'm a fan, a pro of this would be, well, thank God we're trying a new approach, trying
Yes.
something different, even
Yeah, that's
if
a good
there's some
point.
pain to it. At least, you know what I mean? Like if we keep doing what we're doing right now, I have no hope for the future whatsoever because we're never going to add impact guys.
Yeah, we're dying a death of 1,000 paper cuts
Hmm.
rather than just like lop off an arm and let's try it. Let's see what grows
Yeah.
out.
Well, and Andy, the smartest organizations across MLB, they develop this talent, and it either comes up to the major leagues or they trade it. Right? Look at the Padres. They have an all-star caliber, really high payroll team. They traded for all those dudes. They traded out of their farm system, minus their center fielder, who's been really good. He actually squeaked through and didn't get traded. But that's what these guys do. Look at the Dodgers. They spent billions of dollars. Their farm system is excellent.
And
Right?
they develop. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If you develop, everything hinges on development. So Cardinals fans, it's we're going in the right direction. We're starting to go back to where we can be successful. We're just going to have to give it some seasons to see these guys come through. But this is where you need to be. All the smartest organizations do this. This is what we have got to keep doing and continue to go down that path.
I would just vote to cash in on some of these pieces now to augment this development pipeline. If
Me
this
too.
is where the franchise is headed and we're spending all this capital and hiring all these people and putting all these minds into this, then let's really maximize that. Let's, for instance, let's trade Alec Burleson.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree he's never going to be a star. So let's trade him, lay some value, get some low level prospects. Maybe one of them does turn into a star.
Yep. Who's on the next great team? It's a wonderful thought exercise to think, are we one or two pieces away or are we like 10? And if we're like 10,
And
maybe don't trade Mason Wynn. Maybe don't trade Ivan Herrera. These other side piece guys here. Hey, see what you can get, right?
yeah, I agree.
In Heim we trust.
Until we used to say that about Mo. You know it?
Well,
It worked for a long time, though. It really
It
did.
did. It did. It did.
Yeah.
well, let's look to this week. I kind of alluded to it, the opener there of what's to come this week. Cardinals fans, at the end of next week is the Yankees series at home, and they're doing a Chris Carpenter bobblehead giveaway. So if you want yourself
Oh,
a little Carpenter bobblehead memorabilia, go get you some. We have somehow the Rockies are coming to town, and somehow I predict that the Cardinals somehow don't do well against the Rockies somehow. And we're gonna play. So I got us going 1-2 against the Rockies and 2-1 against the Yankees for another week of mediocre baseball.
I love it. That was super hype. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Rockies are terrible, as we know. I'm watching Palante, Gorman, and Walker. That's
Yeah.
basically who I'm going to watch the rest of the year. And I just want to say, I can't stand watching Palante. I just want to put that out there. But I'm going to. But go ahead, Andy.
Well, I just was gonna the Walker thing. The last thing that's burning
Yeah.
about him, I want to say that I saw a stat line where the dude's hitting like in this like last stretch that Matt was saying like the OPS was really high. There's like WRC is like floating with like 170, or I might be off. I could be talking about a different player.
It's
Uh,
up. It's high right
it,
now.
it's is it exciting to watch him? Like, is he exciting to watch? Like, he's like, oh my gosh, this is it.
Yeah, Matt, he hit a home
He's
run yesterday or 2 days
yes.
ago where
Yes.
it was like canceled, melted, deleted, just gone. I mean, it was a rocket. And it's like, that's what could happen. You're like, holy cow, give this guy 3 years of lead time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Give this guy all the plot armor.
I think he's taken steps. He's definitely one I'm watching for, along with
Yeah.
Libby's fatigue stuff. Are his starts okay? What do they do with Leahy? Some of the late inning bullpen stuff. But if we want to key in on Walker, that's fine, and I appreciate that. I wouldn't say Walker's figured it out because he's still hitting like 115-mile-an-hour missiles that are ground balls, and he's like legging them out for singles because they eat up the shortstop, and the professional shortstop can't handle how hard the ball is hit. So it's not there, but he doesn't look terrible
Yeah.
where he's like flailing at sliders low and away. So I think we've seen improvement. I'd say it's solid, but what's there though is what Jonathan's talking about, where he hits a home run and you're just like, my Lord, you know what I mean? Like it's just a
Yeah.
different. It's kind of like, I hate to even say this, but it's like a Pujols or McGuire level shot where he just hits it and the guys in the outfield just don't move. And that is beautiful. And it's in there. And that's what we want. He's a capital G guy if he develops. He's not there yet, but any step towards development we'll take.
You know, I read something too. They interviewed Marmol about like basically what did he do in AA that has helped him reset, right? Ever since he had his appendicitis, he's come back up from that stint in AA. He's been pretty good. Is that he said this is the first time in his career he has ever totally 100% bought into changing his approach. And I read that, and part of me was like offended. The other part of me was like good, because I'm thinking, dude, like how does it take you this long? And I thought to myself, he literally said he tried to trust what got him here. And I can't blame him, Mr. Armchair GM over here. You know, listen, you got to the major leagues, what you did. But it's kind of startling to see that it's taken him 3 years to make a legitimate change. I mean, I guess whatever in the grand scheme if this changes him. But I don't know. What do you guys, does that like jar
that bothers
you a
me
bit?
too. Yeah, it bothers me because you're just going to struggle and you're going to flail. And at some point, don't you think you'd want to succeed? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I have heard whispers of that he can be somewhat difficult as far as changing and developing. And that is something we never talk about in this podcast as far as the development pipeline goes, like what the individual guys do and how they respond to good coaching. And so I guess if it's going to take this, it is somewhat troublesome about him though. Yeah, for sure.
So you heard it here first from the master of whispers, Matt Smith. You old spot. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys, to the Redbird Rundown, your go-to source for the St. Louis Cardinals news. Subscribe, rate, review the show. Help us grow a little bit, guys. Thank you. Follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky and Facebook for this latest news. And, of course, let's keep those rally caps on. Let's play mediocre baseball, and let's go Cards.
Burn it down.